Hi folks, this is all the fruit. I'm on the island of Tenerife in the laurel forest of the mountains de Anaga along the Carretera de Cumbre, which goes along the ridge of the Anaga mountains. And here I found two Solanum plants. Well, I'm gonna rip them out and go somewhere else. They are invasive, so don't complain about me destroying the plants. And also they have so many seeds, they will not die from this treatment. Okay, so I'm a horrible plant killer, but here are the plants. Well, looks quite similar to the situation we have in Heidelberg, right? There is this thing with the blackberries, which we would call Solanum nigrum, and if we were in Heidelberg, we would call this Solanum luteum. Although by now I'm not sure if most of the Heidelberg plants are not hybrids with Solanum alatum. However, here, those Solanums look a little bit different. Of course, since we don't have frost here, they can grow like small tree-like plants. But let's look at this here. Solanum nigrum is an incredibly diverse species. So I guess, yes, we could call this a Solanum nigrum. Kind of small leaves. Almost no hairs, it seems. What about the stem? The stem also almost no hairs. There are ridges along the stem. What does this Solanum nigrum like thing taste like? Nice, nice. Like really nice gooseberries or kiwi berries. Tasty. Yeah. So since most of those versions of Solanum nigrum have no accepted names, it's quite safe to call this Solanum nigrum. What about this here? Let's look at it. Well, Solanum villosum is a complex closely related to Solanum nigrum, but while the fruit of Solanum nigrum are usually black, the ones of Solanum villosum are usually yellow or red. Well, villosum means villose or hairy. Do I see any hairs here? Nope. No, it seems to be naked. It has those ridges along the stem. What about the calyx and the shape of the fruit? Well, the calyx of this one, the sepals, they're almost a little bit roundish, not really hugging the fruit. They look a lot like those here. Those are also a little bit roundish and also not hugging the fruit, but growing away from the fruit. This here, well, a difference between those two, except of course for the color of the fruit, is that this one has very well feelable knots along the ridges. However, those knots are not as thick as the ones I know from typical Solanum alatum, which I've seen on very rare occasions. I'm very familiar with Solanum villosum or Solanum villosum, subspecies villosum, but I'm not so familiar with the subspecies alatum. But the knots along the ridges are a main distinguishing feature. However, those knots, if you drive your finger a couple times along those knots, first couple times you'll feel them very well, and then later you'll realize, oh, basically you smudged them, you smeared them. Well, let's taste the fruit while we think what this could be. Very different taste. Less sweet. Less sweet, and the flavor is also very different. Those might have a stronger kiwi flavor, but I don't like them. They are not sweet enough for me. Solanum nigrum are much more sweet. Interesting. Well, with this one it's quite easy. You can call it Solanum nigrum because, as I said, most of the forms are not really well accepted. You know that it's different from 90% of the Solanum nigrum in the world, but it is Solanum nigrum. With this one, I hope you can see the ridges here, where the stem is above my finger, and the ridges and those little knots, which here are more like soft spines or almost like hairs in some cases. Almost like really thick hairs or soft spines. I would call this Solanum alatum or Solanum villosum subspecies alatum. Here again, I hope you can see those spines or those knots. But it's not exactly like the Solanum alatum I've seen. Yeah, well, I mean, most of the Solanum villosum I've seen in Germany is also not like Solanum villosum is supposed to be. So yeah, let's call this a Solanum nigrum, and let's call this a very unusual Solanum villosum subspecies alatum. So folks, those were two invasive Solanum species in the laurel forest on the island of Tenerife. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the laurel forest of the island of Tenerife. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.